All right, guys, we're going to talk about how to find the intersection of two lines, how to solve for x when x is on both sides. We're going to talk about combining and simplifying. We're also going to talk about how to handle a situation when the distributive property is involved. So let's start with this equation here. If you remember, the slope-intercept form for a line, a linear equation, is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Slope is a measure of rise over run. And what we have here is we have -6, we have a line here, and we have a line here. And when we mathematically solve these two lines by putting them equal to each other, we find their intersection. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to graph it. We know that our y-intercept is -6, so we go to our y-axis to -6, and we put a dot there. We know that our slope is the number attached to the x. Our slope is 5. That means 5 over 1. Rise over run. Our rise is 5. Our run is 1. We're going to go over 1 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to put that together and turn it into a line. Over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to draw our line. That's our first line. And the other line is y equals 3x minus 2, and our y-intercept is -2. We're going to go to -2. And then we're going to go our slope is 3, which is actually 3 over 1. So our rise is 3 over 1. Our run is 1. Over 1, up, 1, 2, 3. Over 1, up, 1, 2, 3. Over 1, up, 1, 2, 3. And you'll see that these lines intersect right there. And finding the point of intersection, we're going to go x is 2 and y is 4, 2 and 4. But sometimes graphs are hard to read and it's easy to make mistakes with rulers, so it's very easy to make mistakes. So we also want to check our math. We're going to check our math. 5x minus 6 equals 3x minus 2. And then we're going to solve for x. When x is on both sides, we're always going to pick on the little guy, which in this case is -3x. So to get rid of the positive 3x, we're going to add a -3x, -3x on one side, -3x on the other side. 5x minus 3x is 2x. Bring down the -6 minus 6 equals 3x minus 3x is 0. Bring down the -2. Now we still want to get x by itself, so we need to get rid of the -6. How do I get rid of the -6? Add 6, add 6. -2 plus 6 is 4. -6 plus 6 is 0. And the 2x is survived. So you bring that down. The 2 is attached to the x through multiplication, so you're going to divorce divide. If you divide by 2 on that side, you divide by on 2 on that side, on both sides, x equals 2. So now that we know what x equals, mathematically, that agrees with our answer up here. So that's good news. But in order to find the y-intercept, or the y value, you're going to take x, and we're going to use this thing called substitution, which means we're going to go back to our original equation, y equals 5x minus 6, or y equals 3x minus 2, and we're going to substitute the value of x in for x. So now it becomes 3 times 2 minus 2, and this becomes 5 times 2 minus 6. So what is 3 times 2? That's 6 minus 2 is 4, equal y equals 4. And 5 times 2 is 10, minus 6 is 4, y equals 4. Our answers agree. Our ordered pair becomes 2, x is 2, y is 4. And that happens to agree with our points of intersection on the graph. If they don't agree, you definitely want to go back and check both your graph and your math to see which is correct. So now let's go ahead and turn the page and look at some of our math solving for x problems. On this problem here, you want to remember that you can combine like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. 3x plus 4x is actually 7x plus 6 equals -50. So combine and simplify. anything that's on the same side of the equal sign. Down here, we have another problem where we have a parentheses, which means we need to use our distributive property. And this means when you have 3 times x plus 2, you need to use your crab clause to distribute the 3 to the x, 3 to the 2. This becomes 3 times x is 3x, plus 3 times 2 is 6. So we're going to go ahead and do that with this problem. Negative 6 times negative 5 becomes positive 30, plus negative 6 times negative 5x becomes positive 30x equals negative 300. And now you just go ahead and solve it like you always would. You want to isolate your x, so you get rid of the friends. How do I get rid of positive 30? Minus 30, minus 30. This becomes 30x equals negative 330. Divide by 30. Divide by 30, and x becomes negative 11. So that's how we're going to use combining and simplifying and the distributive property. If you still have questions, make sure you're asking them. Good luck.